Discount Podcast.
Welcome in, you cheap beggars, to Discount, the bargain bin gaming podcast hosted by three hosts so small you'd think they'd be the collection of physical rhythm games available to purchase.
Oh, foreshadowing, nice.
I am just following a white outline of a ghostly entity as I do rah-rah Rasputin on the floor. My name's Josh, I'm plugging into Player 2.
Filling up robots, clapping along to pop idols, or joining a glee club, all to a lovely, lovely tap-tap beat. I'm Darren, hello. And locked behind the season pass, or available with Discount's first DLC, counting discs.
I'm hitting every bum note possible on Through the Fire and Flames with my classic guitar. It's Keris.
Hello, and welcome to Discount. We're here for another fight episode. Woo! We'll be arguing over the best bargain games that you can buy with your hard-earned cash in a cost of living crisis. Buy a house instead, guys.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, we're here. It's fine. It's all good. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good.
Fine.
Fine. Yeah, my voice broke a little bit there because I was thinking, is it fine? It probably is fine. It's probably fine.
How's everyone doing? Life's just passing by, innit?
God, I remember when I was young and full of hope.
Yeah.
Instead, here I am buying bargain video games, trying to find the best one for value.
I don't remember what it's like to feel happy.
Oh. Anyway.
So yeah, games, right?
Games, right. We would be going straight into our conversation about what we're fighting over this week, but should we have a little look at last episodes where we fought over snow games and opened the vault?
I thought we fought over 3 games.
I gotta be honest, I was in my head, I was busy trying to do all this, and I was like, oh fuck, I've not checked to see who won the poll, so I was busy opening a million things, and then you threw a curveball at me, it was a fucking snowball right in the face, and I was lost.
I threw a curveball, and then halfway through the curve the other way.
I didn't know what was happening there, but yeah, we're here at the vault again to have a little look at what you, the listener, think was the best game we got for snow. So we bought 3 games last time. We had Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. We had Snow Bros, Nick and Tom Special.
We did.
And we had Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to hazard a guess which of those games didn't get a vote?
If it's not Snow Bros, I will agree.
It's gotta be Snow Bros.
Snow Bros didn't get a vote.
Yeah.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
Rightly so. I said it on the last episode. I'll say it on this episode. I apologise for buying that game. I don't know what else I can say. It's not a budget game. It's not a good game. It's a waste of time.
It's a game.
It might be the worst game we've ever bought. And we bought a bad Harvest Moon
The Harvest
game.
Moon was pretty
I was
bad.
gonna say, are you sure?
For the price and for the length, I think it
Yeah.
might be the worst game.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. It's pretty level.
Yeah, it's
Snow Bros is at least fine at being Snow Bros.
yes, that's true. Harvest Moon isn't even a game.
No.
So, what do you think would actually be the winner of this week's game? It's a hard one. It won by 1 vote. It kept switching the whole way through.
That's the thing. It's another one where it's like very much what is the vibe. I'm gonna err on the
19 votes.
Okay, I'm gonna err on the side of Uncharted. I'm not sure.
I will do the opposite. I think just to be...
Just to play the odds.
Just to play
the odds.
devil's advocate here.
We established the law last time. We hate each other. We have to play
Yeah,
opposite
I'm going to
sides.
say Until Dawn.
The winner and the game going into the vault is Until Dawn.
Nice.
Fuck you, Darren!
Right?
So Until Dawn won by a single vote there. Yeah, very hard fought. Uncharted was winning for the majority of the time, and then it was.
But then it didn't, so suck my dick.
Snow Bros and its comeback, right though?
But yeah, so we're going to put Until Dawn in there, which I think is fair. I understand why it got in there. It could have been either or. Like you said, I felt it was going to be close regardless. Funnily enough, I think if we removed what games we voted for as the hosts, I think Until Dawn would have won more so. Because I think me and Darren both voted Uncharted. And you voted Until Dawn, I think.
I did.
So it does feel like it is the fans' favourite.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
for you, fans.
I mean, I think it deserves to be in there. It is the one that everyone considers the GOAT. Yeah. I think if they went back and played both of these games now, they might change their minds about which one deserves to be in there.
And if they played Snowbro...
It is such a fucking good game, man.
If they played Snowbros, they'd stop following us.
If they played Snow Bros, the suicide rate would increase.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It's really bad.
I say that. I think I went back and played a little bit after I streamed it.
Why?
I thought I'll play another 5 minutes of this.
You were like, I deserve to be sad, Snow
You're in a
Bros.
dark place.
I was like, I'm struggling to play games. Let's see if this will help. And it made me appreciate other games a lot more.
You tried to underflow game enjoyment. If I play something this bad, it will go down the bottom, back to the top, and I'll have a great time.
Well, but we should be celebrating Until Dawn. Instead, we're talking about Snow Bros. So should we close the vault and go into the genre for this one? Thank you.
It's getting increasingly hard for me to join in on the vaults because your vault closing is becoming increasingly fart-like.
Yep. Blame it on the vault.
I gotta be honest, I thought this is where the hate stemmed from because Darren's tired of closing the vault by himself the entire time.
You know. Oh well.
Okay. Oh well.
After a couple more attempts, I'm going to start closing it with me inside.
So let's jump into the genre. So obviously we did Snow last time, but this one is a different one altogether. What are we fighting over this time, Keris?
Rhythm games.
And what is rhythm, Darren?
I don't have it, but it's beats and stuff.
Yep, it's a lot of red root vegetables.
It is, yeah.
It basically rhythm games where you have to use rhythm in some sort of way. I imagine it has to take place on a beat. I don't know how to do it, but there's a lot of rhythm games out there. There are some quite well-established rhythm games. But let's address the elephant in the room before we talk about what we purchased and what we thought about. Rhythm games are increasingly more difficult to buy physical copies of.
There's something I want to discuss that I found this during trying to buy a game. The game Guitar Hero Live for the PlayStation 4. I don't know if either of you tried to purchase this game.
No.
If you look at Guitar Hero Live for the PS4, it's going for about 50, 60 quid.
Right.
Because it comes with the guitar and people like that. When it first launched, it was selling for like 50, 60 quid. I bought it like 4 years ago for £15.
Right.
With the guitar. And everywhere I saw it was about that price. Why has the value of Guitar Hero Live fluctuated again?
I have no idea. It's because it's one of those games that people always go, I could do with that. I'd like to play that again.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's remembered it existed and it's come back up the other side.
Because Guitar Hero Live was the idea that they're going to change, cycle songs when they were going to add more songs to it.
So it had like a live song thing and it also changed how the guitar worked.
So I don't know if there's potential, I don't know, just because we've had the Taylor Swift tour, maybe they've got those songs.
It's shut down.
Oh, shut down.
The servers are gone. You can only play the games that are on it, like the songs that are on it. I don't know why the price has gone back up.
How weird.
Because I remember buying it for £15. I'm like, oh, that's not bad for with the guitar as well. I looked at it, it's like 50. I'm like, why?
I mean, if we're talking about rhythm games, Guitar Hero is one of, if not the sort of biggest rhythm game there is, I would say. Yeah. The one that everyone does that. I think Just Dance is a close second, synonymously. And I would say now Beat Saber is up there as the third. They're the top three in rhythm games that people sort of associate with it. But weirdly, they're the ones that are probably the most difficult to get because you require extra materials to do them.
Also, Guitar Hero died out in the PS3 era.
Yeah.
It made it to the end of the PS3 and then died. And we saw a blood pact to buy PS3 games again. So.
But we know full well if they released another one, people would buy it.
I'd have the money this time to buy the full band, and I would.
Yeah, I would love to have the full band.
Yeah.
Get drunk, just do a drunk band with a bunch of friends. Yeah,
it'd be great.
They're not going to do it again. I don't understand. They keep thinking about it, and then it just disappears. But yeah, so those are the top three. But have you been thinking about any other games when you were thinking about what you were going to buy, or should we talk about the games we did purchase first, and then we'll do it afterwards?
I'll talk about one game because this is just me being dumb. When I saw the category was rhythm, I was really excited because one of my favourite games, I'd say, is a rhythm game called Rhythm Heaven. Or Rhythm Paradise was the original one, which was an old DS game and then it released after, which is just very silly little rhythm games. That's what my intro is based on. They're all 2-minute long rhythm games, and you played it with the DS, had a book, and and you like tapped on the screen and the thing was on the left. And I thought that it released on the Switch, and it didn't. It released on the 3DS.
I'm very excited to hear that.
So I was like, fuck, I can't buy it.
If we're talking about games that we thought about buying, I thought about getting Parappa the Rapper.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought I found a really good cheap copy, but it had to come from Japan, and suddenly the shipping was like, hey, do you want to spend 40 quid on shipping? I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
You can keep that. It was like, it could be good. I felt it was difficult in general.
It was.
Just Dance games, that sort of thing. I was looking at the Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory one.
Great game.
To do it.
It's a very good game.
The Persona one. There's a lot of, like, should we say JRPG style games that have done music spirals off of them that you could do.
I found this really difficult on the basis that I wanted to make sure that I bought something I wouldn't have to embarrass myself with on stream. So like,
I'm not sure you did well.
No, but I mean, like, I didn't want to like
a Just
dance on stream.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I thought about Just Dance, but I don't want to stream that.
Yeah, just that made it difficult. I did have to lean on Josh for help for this one. For sure.
This one was hard.
Flower I thought about as well, but it only comes in packs with Journey and their other game, Flow. And Res Infinite is such a good game, but again, digital primarily and stuff like that.
Also in the JRPG line, I looked at, I think it's called Theatrhythm Final Fantasy. It's like a Final Fantasy rhythm game that encompasses all of them. Lovely. In like a rhythm-based RPG thing. But that was like consistently the lowest you'd find it for is 20 quid. And it never dropped below that.
There was a game called Pistol Whip, which I kept finding, and everyone was talking about how good it was.
And like Too Many Bullets, Metal Hellsinger, that sort of thing. Which I thought was digital only.
Digital only, and you're like, that'd be really cool to do. So it's trying to find a rhythm game that's slightly outside of what the idea of what a rhythm game is. So should we have a little look at the games that we did receive? Do you want to do it in the order that we received them, as we always do? So who received their game first?
Who do we think?
It was Keris, because I purchased the game.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Keris, what did you receive?
I received Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Cool. Good title.
Yeah. Do I need to?
Yeah. What was the game?
What is it?
Okay. So Sayonara Wild Hearts is a rhythm-based game that. Basically, the story of it is that you play this girl who's been like pretty brutally broken up with, and she's kind of going through all these emotions of being broken up with in an alternate universe that is watched over by 3 divine arcana, which are based off the major arcana in tarot cards.
Cool.
So. Fair play to you for that one, because obviously if you're not somebody who follows me on my personal Instagram, I do like that. And I won't go into further detail on that. But yeah, the alternate universe is looked over by the High Priestess, the Hierophant, and the Empress. And a cursed arcanum, which is called Little Death, which is represented by the Death card, that gets a bad rep, by the way. It's not a bad card, he's alright. And he's got like little allies that come like with the devil, the moon, the hermit, the lovers. And they stole all harmony and hid it in their hearts. And it's basically your job to kind of go through this alternate universe, collect these shards and these hearts back from the not the minor arcana, but like these arcanas, so that you can restore harmony to the world. And it is essentially kind of marketed as a pop album in a game, a musical pop album in a game. And it's one of those ones where you're driving through either on a motorcycle or on a longboard, and you have to pick things up as you go along to get certain scores. There's an element of combat in it as well, where you have to press certain buttons to be able to defeat these arcanas. And yeah, it's very bright, it's very colourful, it's very neon, and yeah.
And it is cool. Yeah, and there's an album that goes on with it, which was made directly for the game.
Yeah, and the songs are fucking bangers. Every single one a banger.
I like it.
So that was the first one, which was Sayonara Wild Hearts. Mm-hmm. The person who received that game next was me, I believe. It was. Darren did not finish last this time, which is shocking more than anything else. And I received a game I'd never heard of before. I don't know if you know.
You're not the only one.
Called No Straight Roads, which was I think it's the first ever game by this team as well.
This is a game where I read the title and like a review I watched 5 years ago set off like a synapse in my brain. I'm like, I have heard of this.
Yeah, it
was like in there somewhere.
Yeah, I did sort of. I looked and went, I sort of feel like I remember this, but I can work out. It was. It's basically. I think it's one of those. It's called. It's like one of the first like Malaysian games. But it's made by two cousins who were originally involved with Street Fighter 5 and Final Fantasy 15. So
cool.
They've got a bit of a background, but they decided to go off and make their own game. No Straight Roads. What this is, you basically follow an indie band, an indie rock band called Bunk Bed is the word I'm looking for. Bunk Bed Junction.
Okay.
Consisting of two people called Mayday and Zook, and they are participating at the very beginning in an audition process to join the record label No Straight Roads,
Cool.
which makes sense. And this is judged by the person who is the CEO of there, and basically they're a record label, but they own all the districts and they're in charge of like all the electricity, or Quasar or something like that it's called.
Okay.
And you go there, and she thinks that they're gonna be great. Mayday's a fucking brash, annoying little person, and Zook's like a laid back guy. And they go there, they go to Vinyl City, they go to perform, and they get fucking like, shut up, you're shit. And on the way home, Mayday's complaining about it, and then it comes on the TV, they show it and go, we're banning rock music. EDM is the way forward, no more rock music, you're bad people.
They were that bad.
But that's pretty much it. They thought they were okay, and the idea is they get angry, go to their sewer hideout.
Hell yeah.
And then they start getting electricity, and they decide they're going to start taking on the sort of 6 powers of NSR.
The 7 evil ex-boyfriends.
Essentially, through the help of their first super fan who knows all the ins and outs. So then you go off and you like fight them in different stages. Between those fights, you're walking around just picking up little light things, little things to customize your guitar case, stickers that are meant to be like boosts and bonuses to you, and you just walk around jumping, collecting things, leveling yourself up within the sewers, and then you go into these areas to take on the bosses, which is where the rhythm comes into it, where the first guy is like I can remember his name, where is he? DJ Subatomic Supernova.
Hell yeah. Great.
Who is like he's a DJ, he's meant to be like but he's like all space themed, so like you fight you're like on these turntables and you're fighting rocks that then get flown back to him. Then you're fighting like a mermaid K-pop hologram person who's controlled by 4 people. Then there's a child prodigy like pianist, and you fight them, so on and so forth, to then take on the big boss.
Cool.
Who I'm pretty sure, I haven't got there, but I'm pretty sure she's actually the front man of a rock band previously that Mayday really likes but disappeared.
Yeah.
But it's quite clear this is where it's going to go, but yeah, it's all about them interacting, them getting angry, them reconciling Zook's like brother relationship and all that thing, and going through these rhythm sections to take on the boss, and then get more fans to upgrade yourself. And that's pretty much the process of the game. But yeah, it's done in a art style that's garish, to say the least. It's got the weird, like the characters got like the massive hands and the tiny heads. It feels very much like early 2000s Cartoon Network style.
Okay.
Like that's that annoying style of animation.
Yeah.
Everything, it just, and they've all got like the big bulbousy eyes with like the weird stars in them and stuff. You're like, okay, all right, but they've gone for a clear style that they want to go with, and that's it. And you also get to feed a pet alligator in the sewers.
Hell yeah.
But that's pretty
Love
much
that.
No
Sweet.
Straight Roads.
Yep.
And you received your game last, didn't you, Darren?
I did. I received Crypt of the Necrodancer. The plot of this game is mostly in its title. You play as Cadence, who's the daughter of like a famed explorer, treasure hunter kind of guy. And while looking for him, you fall into a crypt controlled by the Necrodancer. It's the Crypt of the Necrodancer. He basically then steals your heart and forces you to try and challenge the crypt, challenge his minions to get it back. The main thing of this game, and it's why people flock to it and its entire sort of gameplay basis, is that everything is done on the beat.
Yeah.
It's not complex music, it's very easy to like pick up the beat of it. But like every movement is done on the beat, every enemy movement is also done on the beat. So, and if you are trying to stay on the beat, you get a multiplier. That means you get more points and more coins. And if you fall off the beat, I think you get stunned for a second, and also you lose your multiplier. So the idea is you're trying to just progress through the crypt, beat the bosses, beat the areas. I think there's 4 zones in it. And then as you go on, you unlock new characters who all have their own different abilities. So one, I know for certain, there's a guy who comes all equipped with bombs. Yep. And his way of attacking is just he throws bombs. Mm-hmm. There's one who dies if they touch gold, and every enemy drops gold when you beat them. So you have to defeat the enemies and then awkwardly go around their gold so you don't touch it and don't die. But that's generally how it works. You're just trying to stay on the beat and dodge the enemy attacks. And that's a lot of the challenge of it. Is you'll have enemies like the first big one you meet is a skeleton. And the way they attack is if they're in the same square as you, beat 1, their hands go up, beat 2, they attack. So if you are on the square next to them and their hands go up, you just move away. Mm. But what you will do inevitably, because you are panicked by all the enemies around you, is its hands will be up and then you will jump into the square next to it and it will just twat you when you move next to it. Because it's rude. But that is basically the core of it. It's just trying to sort of stay on the beat, keep an eye on those enemy patterns, and push through the game. It's
a rhythm-based dungeon crawler.
It is,
isn't it? That's pretty much it. But yeah, that's the 3 games we've got, which are Sayonara, Wild Hearts, No Straight Roads, and Crypt of the Necrodancer. Yeah. All very household names.
Yeah, absolutely.
All household names. Anyway, should we jump in and find out whose was the best of ones that were purchased for rhythm? And we'll get into the fighting section.
Let's do it. Let's fight.
Round 1. Fight! So if you haven't been here before, or you have been here before and you just want a little reminder, this is what we now do. We're now going to fight over which of these games was the best of the games for what we did. There are over 4 categories, which are most accurate, value for money, most entertaining, and play of the game. All are worth 1 point. The first 3 categories go to the person who bought the game, and the last category goes to the person who played the game. So, for example, for Crypt of the Necrodancer, 3 points were available for Karis, because she purchased it, and 1 point, which would be play of the game, would be available for Darren. Yeah. And that's pretty much how it works.
Do not take that as a premonition. That's not how this works.
No, and we all get a little antsy and try and use some underhanded tactics to try and win to get points, because none of us wants to lose here. It's less about winning, it's just not losing.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we jump into the first section, which is most accurate?
Yes.
So I always thought this would be a difficult one to judge on most accurate for rhythm games, because they are all classed as rhythm games. And how do you argue if something is more rhythmy or less rhythmy?
Yeah.
But I think we're going to be able to do it potentially. Does anyone want to jump in to start off with their argument about why the game they played is rhythm or not rhythmy?
I'd like to argue that it is pretty accurate, to be fair, Sayonara, Wild Hearts. To the extent that I think one of the things that was really good about it is that it makes sure that you can't not call it a rhythm game, because the combat is very typically rhythm based. So, you know, you press X for certain points, you blah, 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 blah. But when you are driving through, there's a part of you when you start playing it that is like, is this rhythm based or is this just like a driving part? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you come to realize that when you're collecting all the little bits that you've got to collect for your score, it actually adds to the score of the music. And if you don't get it at the right time, the score sounds like kind of off.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really cool and really clever.
So they've incorporated the music into the thing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's fair. No Straight Roads. So this is a combat game, just to clarify. I don't know if I made it clear. It's a combat rhythm game where things attack and there's like beats. The weird thing is, it's almost, I'm going to describe it almost as an off-rhythm game, is how this works. You move independently of all the sound there and just beat the living shit out of it. It's just when there's a beat, they might attack, so you just jump to avoid it. And that's pretty much all the elements of rhythm that I've managed to find in this game. It's clearly they've built it around this sort of EDM style, although I'd argue not a lot of EDM in it. It's almost like they've got an idea of what EDM should be, but it's not quite. I mean, like, one of the bosses is a pianist, like a classically trained they haven't quite worked out what EDM is, but that's beside the point. And I would argue that they're almost off rhythm. Now, the reason I have a problem with this is because it feels like what it's trying to do is what Hi-Fi Rush did right. Yeah. Do you know, like, the enemies are attacking on point and they're moving quite quickly and they're doing things in time with the rhythm, and you are also working on that rhythm beat. This, you aren't working the rhythm beat, and the enemies, more often than not, are just sort of sat around for ages before they decide to do a rhythm attack. So it's like, we've got all this music in there, and there's going to be a beat now. And you're like, oh, okay. There's a very small element of risk to this thing, like the fact that I've beaten 3 of the bosses without taking a hit, because it's not very hard to avoid, which is... It sounds bad, but I want rhythm games to have that little challenge. I know you can go up in levels, and this game does have a top level that no one can beat, because no one can get the top scores in it, so like the platinum doesn't ever exist on this game. But it's like, it just didn't quite hit for what I thought a rhythm game would be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm just busy judging it against Hi-Fi Rush, which I know did this job so well.
Yeah.
But I can see what this is trying to do, and it just seems like it missed a little bit. It was a little offbeat. Let's put it that way.
Hey.
A little offbeat. That's how I'd look at it.
Cute. Necrodancer is... I feel in two minds about this, because, like, obviously it is a rhythm game and that everything you do is based on the beat. Mm-hmm. But it's... The simplicity and the plainness of the beat almost makes me want to rally against it in terms of it being a rhythm game.
Right.
Like, I could play this on mute and just, like...
Yeah.
It's the same rhythm the whole way through, is it?
Yeah, and it just speeds up.
Okay.
As you go from floor to floor. And I think potentially when you move to like a different zone, the pace of it changes slightly.
Right.
But the music itself doesn't have much going on. It's just beat, 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 beat. I can just watch the lines at the bottom and just play it. But I suppose like the argument the other way is, A, that is what a rhythm game is. But also like... the entire game is based on it. You can't miss a beat or you lose your multiplier.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything other than that. Like you can just...
But it can stun you and then ultimately cause your death.
Yeah, and a lot of it is you're just waiting for things to move up to you and you can sort of move around them in a certain way. So the entire thing is based on the rhythm. But you don't... What am I trying to say? If I compare this to another rhythm game I enjoyed recently, which was Metal Hellsinger, the extent to which you were on the beat gave you different benefits. The extent to which you matched the beat gave you different benefits. In this, outside of the coin multiplier for staying like on the beat, it's less about the beat and more about understanding how the things around you are moving.
Yeah.
Like, it is, in a strict sense, a rhythm game because you are on the beat and you're on the pace of moving it around. But there's no part of it where I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a higher score if I stick closer to the beat. I'm not even listening, mostly. I'm just watching the line at the bottom. And I just hit when it makes the middle. And I'm spending the rest of the time watching the enemies so I don't jump into a... Skeleton's about to attack.
So that always has like a beat marker on it. The game, No Straight Roads, has the ability to turn that on or off. So if you are someone struggling with it, it sort of shows you when to like jump and avoid, which I like is a little... Just to add it into No Straight Roads, it does have that ability that if you are rhythmically challenged,
you can use the visual.
You can use the visual to do it. So you can just turn it off and just run that way.
And like, you don't have to be perfectly on the beat. You can, from where the lines were on the screen, miss it by quite a bit. Right. And as long as you're not completely off, it lets you go with it. But that is the thing, it's entirely on the beat. Even while you're in the shop trying to buy something, you have to dance left and right from beat to beat, waiting to decide what to buy. Normally you'll just funnel enemies behind you, just like tap, 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 tap. Come up to me, come towards me so I can hit you, come on. And my play of the game will be something about that, where my brain just shut off while trying to do that strategy. But
it is, Crypt the Necrodancer is entirely on the beat, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no argument that it's not a rhythm game. It is just
everything moves to the beat. Everything has to. And
it does. It does change. It does increase the metro. It doesn't have that like dot dot stop. Dot dot.
Yeah,
it's not like
there's no like excitement to the music. There's no excitement to the rhythm going on. It's just
because it's quite simple, beat. Like a metronome. It just sort of feels.
And I think it's because the enemies are so complex and because the gameplay is so complex. If you made the music more complex, it strays into more unfair than it already is.
Right.
Yeah, because Sayonara's got that weird thing. So like, I really like Sayonara. I remember playing it when it first came out, but it feels like a rhythm game, but not a rhythm game. And I know what you mean. It's got that thing there where you can sort of just go along, but I think it's because they've made it so sort of easy that anyone should be able to complete any level. They want to make it so it doesn't stop you from progressing through it.
Yeah.
But it is clearly a rhythm game, just not... I don't know, I feel like Necrodancer is potentially the most rhythm, because it's sort of stuck.
From what I'm hearing, I think you have to give it to Necrodancer because it is the one that most demands you to have rhythm.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the one where you have to have rhythm to play the rhythm game.
That's it, yeah. Realistically, I could have easily had mine on mute and been fine without any... But not because... it's like, this person's jumping in the air, they're clearly going to hit the ground now. The sound means nothing to me as I go through this game. But maybe I missed something when I was playing it.
And like I said, I could have played this on mute and just watched the marker, but I basically did that at first and I was having a bad time.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that with Sayonara because it definitely, the music is affected by it. You have to kind of keep an ear out for it. But I do agree, it's not a traditional, like, rhythm game. It's not... It's not. It's just not. You know?
It's just not.
I will say though, No Straight Roads. Some of the music is pretty bopping, but only. The problem is
bopping.
That's what you'll do.
Thanks, Grandad. Bopping.
The issue is because of how long.
Twisting, pulling, bopping.
Because the fights can go on for like 12, 30 minutes as you clear out the areas.
Yeah.
It does just sort of recycle it, so they're not like, oh, this is great. It's just like, all right, they've just made something that can just, which is why they've gone with EDM, because you can just
cycle it.
Yeah, cycle it. So we go in first point to Crypt the Necrodancer.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Crypt the Necrodancer for getting a point for most accurate rhythm game.
We are 1 point toward the premonition at the start being true.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we're now doing value for money. So value for money normally is just a very much rigid. This is how long it takes to beat. This is how much it is. But I think with rhythm games, again, there's going to be a grain of salt.
Bit more nuance there.
So we'll see how it goes. As you already got a point, Karis, how much did you pay for your Crypt of the Necrodancer?
How much?
£12.29.
No, it's £12.28. But yes,
nearly.
Close.
Proud of you.
We were close there. That's not the answer I want. So on how long to beat, main story 14 hours, it says. Mains size 25 hours, but completionist, it says 363 hours.
Yep.
All styles 22.
Yeah.
Which makes it sound like people aren't going for the completionist in this. Do you have something to say on that there, Darren?
What I will say about the length of time of this game is that it's not a content issue, it is a skill issue.
Right.
Like, the reason that people are taking 363 hours to beat this game fully is not because there is 363 hours worth of content. It's because it takes you that long to get good enough to beat it.
Right.
Like, there are certain characters you unlock later. There's one who dies in one hit. There's one who dies if they miss the beat. Ever. And then there's a character you get at the end, I think he's called Coda, who has everyone else's abilities. So he can't pick up money, he can't miss the beat, he can't take a single hit.
And you have to beat the game with him.
You do.
Yeah, right.
And there's a if you're doing it by like the 100% completion, the platinum trophy standard, you have to beat the game as everyone excluding Coda, who is everyone in a single run. So you have to do all 8 characters back to back completed.
Ooh,
right.
Okay.
So again, this is the thing. It's where you go with the content. Isn't it? So I feel like the 22 hours is probably.
I think that's about right. That's still like a combination of content and skill.
Yeah.
I think content-wise, if you combine all of the characters together, there's like 10 to 15 hours worth of content here.
Right.
But it asks so much of you.
Well, it says 14 hours for the main story, which feels
that's about
right.
right.
It's just what you want to.
It asks so much of you that you have to put that time in to get better at it.
Right.
It's like, I think, from my own experience, Hollow Knight has quite a high one. And it's just because you have to beat the Pantheons and they're fucking impossible.
Yeah.
So it demands you to get better at the game.
Fair enough. Okay, so that was £12.28 for mains and sides, about 25.5 hours.
Yeah.
So that's all right.
It's fine.
Level.
That's fine. Yeah.
And All Stars 22. No Straight Roads. How much did you spend on No Straight Roads?
£3.95.
That is a very cheap game. Main story 6 hours.
Yeah.
Mains and sides 8 hours. All Stars 7 hours. Completionist 13 hours.
Okay.
Although I have seen horror stories about completionists because there seems to be some issues with trophies not popping, them not collecting things properly, so you have to get like S ranks in the higher difficulties of the game. But main story being about 6 hours feels right for what I've played of it so far. Main size 8 hours feels right. That feels like the length it's probably going to be. I think it'll be, completionist feels a little longer than 13, but people are doing it, so obviously you can do it that way. I mean, I say that right now and I don't understand, but I'll talk about it in enjoyment.
Okay.
But and the last one, Sayonara Wild Hearts, I spent £7.68 on a game that has a 1.5 hour main story, 2.5 main exercise, completionist is 9 hours, all styles 1.5. Because as I said beforehand, they've made it so that you can't really fail the game. They want you to complete the story, don't they? That's pretty much how it comes. Have you finished it yet? Because I know you've been going to try and get...
So this is what I was going to say, is that I'll leave a lot of it for entertainment, but I had an absolute compulsion with this game where I would not allow myself to move on to the next level unless I got gold.
Cool.
And there's 2 that I'm back and forth with at the moment that I am really struggling to get gold on. So no, I haven't finished it.
But regardless, it's 2.5 hours for maintenance size here. It's not a long game. For £7, you're getting less than an hour per pound, which is not ideal.
Not great.
Let's be honest. But I just thought it was a good game, so that's why I purchased it. I knew it was going to be a dice roll, but
that's fair.
Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
So really the question is it Crypt of the Necrodancer with its 363 hours of completion time for its price, or No Straight Roads for being ridiculously cheap and an appropriate length? It's a hard one. I do think No Straight Roads probably deserves it, in my opinion.
I would say, I think it comes down to which one you would enjoy completing the most and which one you would actually want to complete. Because if I'm honest, okay, well, if you had a gun to your head, all right.
I'd rather only spend 13 hours completing something than 363 hours.
Yeah. I also think like there is more content in No Straight Roads. Like this is. You will spend a lot of time in Crypt and Necrodancer, but you will see those 4 zones a lot.
Well, that's the difference. There's a full story here. There's stuff in there, so you're getting a bit more value than I'm just walking down a dungeon. So, I mean, in my mind, I think No Straight Roads deserves the point here. It could be either or. It really could be just what you think. But let's be honest, was it 7 hours for all styles on No Straight Roads?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Crypt and Necrodancer was 22 hours.
Yeah.
We can do the maths if we want. And
it works out slightly better for Straight Roads.
Like the tiniest bit. So I can go No Straight Roads for
I
point.
think so.
So there's a point to Darren for
my favourite category.
his favourite category, value for money. Up next, though, is I don't think it's going to be as hotly contested as we wanted, but most entertaining game. I'm quite happy to go first here.
Cool.
I have not really enjoyed No Straight Roads.
Okay.
I don't know if it's me comparing it to the wrong things. Let's start off. I know Darren's aware of this.
Yeah.
The game crashed on me twice after you do the tutorial. You walk a little bit. It crashed twice, and then when it started up again, it made me do the tutorial again. To the point where I had to put the game away because I was getting so angry at it. Because it wasn't anything else. It was just a tech
Just being
issue.
rude.
It was just being rude. But then it did work, so that's fine. The lead characters... Zook is fine. Okay. Mayday is so annoying. There's always that girl who wants to be in a band but isn't actually that talented and is just a bit of a gobby shit.
Yeah.
She's that girl.
Fair.
Right.
And it's just like, everyone hates me because they don't like... I'm like, I don't give a... No, they hate you because you're a twat.
That's fair.
And I was like, I don't want you to succeed.
Yeah.
I don't want you to succeed. They trying to make the gameplay engaging, but like they've got different abilities. She can smash continually in a heavy attacks. He can hit 3 things in a row and then 3 things in a row. I'm like, there is no difference to how this is. It's just she hits slightly slower and you've made it so it looks like he's doing something in a rhythm when he isn't, because you can do it at any time.
Yeah.
It just didn't quite work in what it was trying to do. Also, didn't like the visuals. I just didn't. The visuals didn't appeal to me, which it sounds real like to do. But if you've seen, if you just look at the picture, like how it is, that's how it is the whole way through the game. There are some cool bits in there. So like, I do really like how they've created these people. Like the DJ is like this guy who's got like a big suit, but actually he's like a little weedy guy inside. The person you're fighting, which is like the mermaid, which is like a little K-pop virtual star. What you're fighting is 4 different like programmers. So one guy is just like, he is the mocap for it. Yeah. One at the top is the person who's like the designer. The other one is like the artist. You know, it's like all these things. You're like, oh, that's interesting. But ultimately, it's just like, that's cool. And all the boss fights, when you actually get to the boss fights, you go, I can see you've put a lot of love into putting this together. but I'm not enjoying the actual... Like, each one feels different, and I just didn't enjoy it. And the main reason I didn't enjoy it is because I was playing on normal, I was doing everything I meant to, I'd get to the end, after beating them, after doing like 12 minutes in this fucking fight, and they go, yep, no rank, no new fans for you. I'm like, well, what have I done wrong? I got no one hit me.
Yeah.
I've got my combo here, got this, yep, no rank for you. I'm like, what is it I'm doing wrong? And at no point in the game is it explaining to me why this has happened. It's just like, yeah, you were probably just shit, but then you beat it and you go, let's do the next section. You're like, if I'm failing, surely I should...
It's one of those where you're like, I'd love to see this done by someone else.
Which is
I'd love to see these ideas be approached by someone else.
And Bethesda did it with Hi-Fi Rush, and it works, and that's what I want. And that's the problem. I do feel like I'm comparing it to a game that I held in such high regard from last year, but it just misses. And you can see that there's a lot of love there, but I just want someone else to have done it, or for them to come back with a bigger team to actually put their ideas together. I mean, I'm interested to see what they make next and what they're doing, but it's just, this wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
Makes sense, okay.
So sorry to shit all over this game. It's definitely better than Snow Bros, but it's...
Of course it is.
And I can see there's definitely appeal out there for some people, but if you look online, it's such a polarizing game, where some people going, this is rubbish, and other people going, oh, this is an unsung gem, and I can see there are elements that make people want to say that, but it just...
Like, people who got into it love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's it, and it just... I just can't get into it. I enjoyed it more when I went back to it, so I played a bit more of it today. I enjoyed the bits I played today more than the first bits I played, so I don't know if it gets better and better, but I'm still not getting any fucking ranks on any of my things, and I don't understand what I'm doing wrong.
Just get good.
I mean, that's what I want to do, but I don't understand what I'm meant to do because they've given me instructions. Admittedly, it may have given me instructions, but by the third time I was doing the tutorial, I was just skipping through that fucking shit.
Totally understandable.
Anyone else want to talk about entertainment of their game?
Go on, Karis.
I'll go for it. If I was thoroughly entertained by Sayonara, I'll be honest. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. I think the actual gameplay is really cool, like the driving elements of it, the fact that every song is completely different from the last one, even though they follow a similar kind of sonic genre, if you will. They do sound completely different. The kind of worlds that you have to go through are different every time. It managed to give me something different every level that caught me off guard a little bit. I enjoyed how simple it was, because it was just kind of like, just sit here. And I thought this was going to be a very calm game for me. It was not. I was very, very overly competitive about getting the gold every single time. But I liked it for that. It was kind of like that thing that I was like, I need to get it. If I don't get it, I'm going to fucking kill myself. But it wasn't challenging to the extent that, I wanted to give up on it. It was challenging enough to be fun.
Within reach.
Yeah. I just liked everything about it. I liked the art style. I liked the music. I liked the gameplay. It was good.
I've got to be honest. You said they were all of the same Sonic genre, and I thought you meant the Hedgehog. And I pieced out of the conversation. I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Oh man, if it was a Sonic rhythm game,
right?
Oh my God.
That'd be amazing.
But as I said earlier, they've made it so that you can't fail any of the levels.
Yeah.
So if you just want to experience the story and get all that, and I love that in a game where they because there are a lot of games now that are like, no, we want you to suffer through this, to enjoy our art for what it should be. But then there's just not everyone's got
the overall feeling I got of it.
So you don't have 400 hours to give us.
Yeah, the overall feeling I got of it was very much that the music and the whole game was made with a lot of love, and the reason that they want you to experience it is just because they want you to experience the thing that they enjoyed making, and the competitive element of it comes afterwards when you kind of want to do the scores, unless you're me and you decide that you have to do it straight away, otherwise life is not worth living.
That's fair. Crypt of the Necrodancer is torture. It's also very, very good. It obviously, as we've sort of danced around, is impossibly fucking difficult.
Yeah.
It feels like what I imagine the experience of trying to play Dark Souls 2 on a dance mat would be.
Right.
It's got like no forgiveness. It's got no leeway. If an enemy is within your range and you do the wrong thing, you will just get hit and you will lose a third of your health and you will get fucked.
Yep.
And then because you're panicking that you've just lost your health, something else will hit you. And then that first enemy will hit you again. And now you're dead and you start again.
Yep.
But something about it is like... It's like a parasite that has burrowed its way into me. Where it's like, yeah, get fucked, you lose. And I'm like, you get fucked, game. Retry. Right back in.
It's the way I feel about Necrodancer is the same way I feel like, you know, when you've got an earworm of a song to the point like, oh yeah, I like the song, then you just fucking hate the song and then you forget about it, and then it comes back, oh yeah, that song, and then like it's stuck in your head again for another 3 days. Like, for fuck's sake, I hate this, and it's just this like.
You had that with that opera singing French Bulldog.
I did. It
Nice.
wasn't good. But it also has that satisfaction of a roguelike. It has the satisfaction of a Souls-like. It has
It
that,
does.
like, you're getting through it. It's like,
Once you start getting into the rhythm of it, you're like, fuck yeah, this is great. This is incredible. And then you meet an enemy type you've forgotten about and it beats the shit out of you and you die and you start again. And it's just a lot of the experience of it. And the worst thing is, this is with the base character, and every other character makes it fucking harder.
Yep.
So you have to sort of, well, some of them make it harder. I think there's one who doesn't have to stay on the beat,
oh really?
and she's pretty easy.
Yeah.
In all the guides you read, where it's like you have to do all 8 back to back to back, it's like, do her last.
Because if you've done the others, then it's fine.
Yeah, if you've
I'm
done the
really
others.
sorry, you guys missed the facial expression that Darren did when he mentioned the title of the episode.
I caught it like in my brain. I'm like, hey, go me, unintentionally.
Oh my
Yeah, like I love and hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic game, and every time I look at it installed, it makes me like break out in a cold sweat, and I have to pass away from it before like it makes me hurt inside. Like I sent a message to because it arrived, funnily enough, on my birthday to my house, and I sent a message to our group chat, and I went, "Oh, look what Kara's got for my birthday! It's Pain." Like, I really like what it's doing. I really appreciate what it's doing. But if you put like 50 games in front of me, I'm not choosing to play Necrodancer. It'll make me sad.
The only thing that I'm getting from this is at least Kara's had a good time.
I did.
Kara's had a great time.
I had a great time.
Which makes me think that Sayonara deserves
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
I think it should.
I mean, I've played all 3 games, and if you told me which one I had to go back and play again now, I would go back and play either Crypt or Sayonara, but it would be Sayonara because it'd be like, cool, I can just switch off for an hour, hour and a half, and I can complete a game and enjoy myself the whole way through.
Yeah, it's like it's again the discussion of like the best game versus the game that was the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I think the amount of work that's gone into Crypt and Necrodancer and the game that they have built is phenomenal. But also, it hates me.
Yes.
I don't want to play it because it makes me sad. But when you play it, you're like, the amount of work that went into building this game is exceptional.
Both Crypt and Sayonara are those sort of games that float around and people talk about still quite a bit. Like, no one's ever mentioned No Straight Roads to me ever. But like, there's clearly a lot of love and communities from them, and there are sadists on Crypt of the Necrodancer who will.
I got this game for free due to a PlayStation Store glitch.
Oh, I got it for free as well.
I think at the same time, it just went free for like 2 days, and then it went back to its normal price.
Yeah.
But we were like, fuck it.
Just get a free one, yeah. So points to Sayonara.
Yeah.
Woohoo! So that's points to all 3 of us now.
Yeah.
It's all going to come down to play of the game. I do like episodes when they come like this.
Yeah.
But not when I've played No Straight Roads. Does anyone want to go first with what their play of the game is?
I'll go first.
Yeah?
I don't mind.
Okay.
So, as I said a little bit earlier, this is the story of how my brain, A, forgot how patterns work, and B, just got stuck for a good, like, minute and a half. There's an enemy type, which is a gold slime in this. So every enemy has its individual movement patterns.
Yep.
So, like, I think that one of the first ones you encounter is the skeletons move towards you, and bats will move back and forth. Mm-hmm. And, like, some slimes will move towards you and someone. The gold slimes move in a square. So, like, if you picture, like, the 4 square, it's just in a circle around the sort of 4 squares in a little ring. And I found one, and I'm like, okay, all I got to do is end up next to it. And I could not fucking do it. I don't know why I couldn't do it. I was, like, dotting back and forth, and I kept missing it. So like when it was on the bottom 2 squares that I was trying to hit it on, when it's on the right one, I'm on the left, and then I'd like dance the other way, and then it would go around, and I'd just keep missing it. I'd like go the other way to try and piece out a square, and then jump back and be in the wrong square. And I know, logically, if I just kept going left and right, I'd line up with it. But if I went left the other way and right, I'd line up with it. And while I'm doing it, I'm telling myself this, but I kept doing it wrong.
Right.
So, like, I'd say, oh, okay, if I just go left then right, it'll be fine. But I go right instead, so I'm still off. Or like, if I just go left, but I go down instead, so I'm still off.
Yeah.
For like a good minute and a half, I'm sat here in my fucking living room. I think it's like 11 o'clock at night. I just want to go to bed. I'm playing a bit of this. I'm like, I'll finish the floor. I want to get past this floor. And I'm sat there, wide-eyed, looking at the TV, going, left, right, down, up, left, right, down. Why can't I fucking meet this thing? Why can't I fucking find it? I think the way I got it in the end is I went, like, up into its path and, like, caught it. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. But I just forgot how rhythm worked. I forgot how patterns work. I sat here for 2 minutes going, duh, duh, duh. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
I'm going to be here for the rest of my fucking life. We're going to be recording, and I'm going to have the controller under the table going left, right, left, right, left, right. Still not meeting this fucking thing. But other than that, great.
Other than that, great. I'll go next if you want.
Yeah, sure.
So, as I said, the thing that I do think is good about this game was the boss fights. There are a few good ones. I mean, you see what they wanted to do, and I think they're quite fun in how they've been made. Like, when you go to fight... You fight the DJ, he thinks he's the centre of the universe, so his whole thing's about that, and he's just doing like pontificating speeches, and you beat him, and it's great. Then there's the child prodigy, that's like a later boss, who's this pianist, and you beat it quite quickly, and then suddenly he goes, Mom! And then this like fucking devil comes and goes, no, listen to my voice. This is like, so it's the idea that the child has been trained from a young age, like you have to play it, you have to do this, you have to be better, and like she becomes a cage and stuff, and the kid's trapped in there, and you're still fighting it, and as you leave, she's like, the kid's just playing like a simple song, and she's then sat next to me like, oh, they've resolved this little thing, like the kid's now able to play for enjoyment rather than that.
That's cute.
But the mermaid thing. So the mermaid, you slowly beat it through these. You first level you fight, you see the first one, which is the coda. Then another person comes in, and as they come, this mermaid sort of changes, and like it gets like a darker color, or it like becomes super animated, or you know, it becomes really smiley, like unsure of what's going on.
Yeah.
And then you get to the final stage, and you see the person in the like the mocap suit sort of like flick his legs out. You go, oh, she's turning into a person. Then you go snap, and you see underneath, you see her legs, and you're like, yes, we're going to fight a full person then, because it's just going to be more difficult. Then it pans up, and the top half of her body is turned into a fish. So she literally just switches what a mermaid is, and then you have to fight a fish with legs as the final part of this massive fight that's been going on for ages.
That's fun.
So you jump up, you do your final thing, and you just blast through this fish's eye, you're like,
I like that.
Lovely little ending. Like I said, there weren't huge ones, but like they've obviously put a lot of care into these boss fights. And that moment, I literally laughed out loud. I was like, there we are. That's really funny. They've done a good job here. I like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Mine's on the same kind of level as Darren's really.
Okay.
It was just a bit where I just got really frustrated to the point where I was like, fuck's sake. Like how... So... There's a level which arguably has the best song in it, and it's quite long, where you have it's essentially like a boss level, and you are chasing these 3 devils on a motorbike through this like town, and there's lots of, it's quite a fast song, but it is quite chilled, but it is quite fast tempo wise, and there's lots of like little alleyways to go through and stuff to get more points, because in there you collect the little hearts, and the hearts give you a certain amount, but there's also little shards, and if you get the little shards, and they're usually in places that are a little bit harder to reach, they give you way more points. So there's a bit, and I've managed to get it, so the first motorcycle that you follow, I'm smashing the points. I know where they are. I've got like a rhythm and a pattern to it, right? And I get to the second one, and the second one is going pretty easy so far, not a problem. And then you go through a tunnel, okay? And there is a little diamond on the side, and I was thinking, okay, I can get that. That's quite easy. I go over to the side, and I get fucking bulldozed by a train.
Cool.
Just face first into a train.
Yep.
So it puts me back. I'm like, okay, brilliant. So, and then I'm like, if I have to do it really quickly, head first into a train. I must have gone head first into this train a horrific amount of times. And every single time I thought I got it. And then the one time I did get it, I was like, well, I've gotten it now. I've gotten past the level, which is nice. But I got it and I was like, yes! And I was so busy thinking, yes, I've done really well, that I went straight into a fucking wall. And it wasn't a wall that was hard to... It was the easiest thing that I could have fucking avoided. And I just went fucking straight head first into this wall. And it was just a point where I was like, yeah, that feels right. That feels right. And I'd love to say that I only did it that once. But if it wasn't the train, it was the fucking wall every time.
So, player of the games. What are we voting for? We voting for man descends into madness, trying to hit a golden slime.
Trying to understand squares.
Woman descends into madness, trying to avoid a train. Man fights fish.
You know, just based off those descriptions, I'm going to give it to man fights fish.
That's fair.
I don't really know where to go with it. You two have very similar moments.
Yeah.
I know those moments. The one of, I just can't fucking work out. I can't work out the pattern. Here I am for 5 minutes. Fucking, like, adulation is done.
It would be fine if the game let you stand still.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep moving. If you can stand still for 1 beat, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's purely of the mechanics of the game where it's like, can't fucking meet it. Can't do it.
And then you're like, oh, I have to count up how many squares. And then, oh, cool, I'll be 1 beat different when I come in. Yeah, it's...
And still fucking it up.
Yep. I know the pain. I know the pain for that. And
Yeah.
I also know an adulation of getting something that immediately comes
Fucking it up.
by something that's so simple.
I don't know what the length of the train is. I imagine in my head I'd get it and then like veer back into the train and be like, fuck.
There is a possibility to do that, yes. Yeah,
That's what I do every time. I'd be like, da-da, da-da. Because I'm an idiot.
What are you voting for then, Darren?
I like mine. I know what the second place one would be in the instance that's important. But I like mine. The problem is I know what Karis has said she's voting for, so I feel like it's a lost cause.
Well, no, I see I'd vote for Karis's.
Yeah?
Because I know that moment of adulation and immediate comeuppance is one of those things. Frustration is a different thing. That's sort of how I would go. And I suppose
that's fair.
Is second point place for you? Which one's that? Is that
yours?
Fish? Is your second place your own or is it Darren's?
I think I'd have to go for mine just because.
That's fair.
Just because of how happy I felt.
Because my second place.
Your own emotion.
Yeah.
My second place is Darren's.
What are we doing?
So realistically, there is no outcome for this, which is actually us all coming into as a joint win, which makes it absolutely worthless. Absolutely worthless. So where I think this falls down on, I'm making a random arbitrary decision. Karis and I have both voted for something that's not our own for our favourite.
Yeah.
You voted for your own as your favourite, so you're voting for fish. Yeah. Therefore,
Fish wins.
I win.
Yeah.
I get the points.
You do.
I put further ahead.
You do.
2 points ahead of both of you.
Yeah.
See, what did I tell you? Don't think of it as a premonition, because if it's you'll never fucking win.
Who would have thought that No Straight Rose was going to pull me out?
I know.
Actually feels like a fucking
Best game.
Best game. So that is the end of our fight. Before we move on, though, we need to find out what we will be buying for each other for the next one.
Yeah. Yep.
So we need to return to our random genre generator.
We do.
Darren, what are you going to go into?
It's a weird.
Go on. Go on. Give us the name of the place. Give us the name of the thing you're getting.
The random genre generator.
Thank you. Lovely.
A little bit of ASMR for you all.
What is it?
It's a weird one this time.
Oh, God.
It's not really a genre.
Oh,
it's
dear.
just a state of existence.
Oh, dear.
Fuck.
This is a community suggested one from a lovely gentleman by the name of Play Satan.
Yep.
Nice.
So good for them. You're welcome. You're here now. Our topic for today is bottom shelf of CEX.
Oh.
For those who don't know, CEX is a second-hand game store. And we have to buy something from the bottom shelf.
That's going to be difficult. That means going out to actually get it, or just assuming it'd be on the bottom shelf.
There's something about this that I think is very funny.
How do we fight for most accurate?
Exactly.
Well, they were all on the bottom. Maybe we all automatically get a point.
I think I know how I'm going to make the decision on what's going to win it, but I'm not going to say it out now.
I just...
We all have to make our own voting.
But that gives you an advantage.
No, because it's what I think it would be.
There's something I think is very funny about the way we'll have to score this, but I will leave that to describe in the episode.
That's cool.
Because I think for now, it will spoil what's so funny about it.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
It'll be funnier when we get there.
Perfect.
All
so we are going to CEX, not a sponsor. If they want to be
other secondhand game shops are available.
Not many of them.
Yeah, but who fucking knows where they are,
Not
right?
game anymore, let's be honest. So that brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you all for listening. If you do enjoy this, do check us out on our Instagram at DiscountPod, which will have all the information about all the other stuff we do, like sneezing during the middle of conversations.
That's what we do.
That is on Instagram at DiscountPod. There's Discount Keris, the sneezer, which is the whole title.
Yeah.
At Discount Darren and Discount Josh. But we do stream on Twitch 3 times a week. We stream these games, so they are going to be streamed on Wednesdays usually. Just keep an eye on our schedule. And we also stream legacy games, which are Souls likes for Josh, Kingdom Hearts for Darren, and Resident Evil for Keris. Who knows where we're going to be at in the grand scheme of those at this point. Yeah, check us out on there, and if you want to catch up on anything else, check us out on our YouTube, which has all of our old streams and longer versions of these episodes. I think that's everything.
I think so.
To say.
Yep.
But yeah, if you do want to buy a game, don't just have to go to CEX. Go wherever you fucking want.
Yep.
Thank you for being up here.
Yes.
And we'll catch you all next time.
Bye.